So welcome back to another episode, and this is one I wanted to talk about for a little bit of time. Are video games becoming too easy? That is the subject of today's video, and I'm going to talk all about it. And I remember growing up in the 80s and playing NES games and all those games back then. There was a lot of really challenging games back then, like Ninja Gaiden, the list goes on. And they were balls hard for a reason, because usually the games were kind of short, and you'd buy a game, you spend 80 bucks on it, you wanted to get your money's worth, and the developers wanted you to get your money's worth as well, which is very nice of them. So I grew up with a lot of very hard video games, a lot of very hard role-playing games, a lot of grinding and relentless dungeons that would, you know, if you died, you had to start again from the beginning, and it was really difficult, and save points were very hard to come by back then. Another thing. So that's kind of how I grew up with video games being hard. That's what I was used to. And I've noticed over the last few years that video games overall seem to be getting a little bit easier. And that's not because I'm becoming a better player. I'm always a person, I want to say as well, that enjoys easy video games. I really like an easy video game because I like to get through it fast and get it done and then come in and talk about it. Those are the best types of things. And I also like video games that are about 9 to 12 to 20 hours long. That's perfect for me where I'm at in my life. But me at 14, give me a game that lasted 40 to 100 hours. Loved it. Got my money's worth out of it. 100%. So I just have noticed that in the last few years that games have gotten a lot easier. And is it just me? Have you guys noticed this as well? Okay, and I'm not picking on Square Enix, but I am. As you know, I'm a huge Dragon Quest fanatic. I have played them all. From the NES days when it was called Dragon Warrior up to now, where we got Dragon Quest 11. Now, the one thing I want to say about Dragon Quest 11 is I love the game. I still stand behind my review of the game. I think it's fantastic. But when it was all said and done, I kind of looked back on it and I was like, and I talked to my wife about it as well. We're like, wow, that was really easy. It was more like it was like streamlined. The combat was never really challenging. I know there's a point in the game where you can kind of change the difficulty, but I never did that. I never saw that option. We kind of missed that. So just playing the default game, I thought for a Dragon Quest game, this is really super easy. Even the after game content I thought was quite simple. So I was like, oh, and that's the only downside to Dragon Quest 11, I think, for veterans of Dragon Quest. Like Dragon Quest 8 had its moments where you had to really grind, where Dragon Quest 11 I never found I really had to grind. We did a little bit, but we didn't really need to. We found when we got to the bosses, we're like, oh, that wasn't so bad. Another game, and it doesn't matter if you like this game or dislike it, because I know this was a very divisive game, and that's Final Fantasy 15 was a very unusual game in the sense that I like the game. I do. But I do see people who had a problem with it. A lot of people said that it played itself. The combat played itself with one button. And I was like, huh, yeah, that is kind of there, isn't it? That is kind of there. I always manually, selected all my characters to do everything. But wow, I was like, that's a good little point of view that the game was that game was easy as pie. I mean, I finished that game in I swear, under a week, very fast. For a Final Fantasy game, and I wasn't devoting that much time to it. I just thought that the questing, the combat, the boss encounters, obviously the argument is there's a lot of other quests you can do to get more out of the game. Sure, absolutely. But the game still, overall, was very simple. Another game here. Resident Evil 7. A game that I really like. I think it's a good game. But my God, was that game over fast. I remember when I came in to do my first thoughts video on it, and I was like, oh God, I'm at this point in the game, I think it's great. And then somebody said, yeah, you've only got 2 hours left on it. And I was like, what? And I did. And then a few hours later, I was done. I was like, oh, I can't even do a final thoughts on it because it's pretty much what I said my first thoughts. And I was like, oh, damn. Here's my thing. I think that what they're doing with a lot of these games now. Oh, another one, Kingdom Hearts 3. Kingdom Hearts 3. I put in my review, and one of the reasons why I did like the game is because it was very, very easy for me to get through in the review process. So I could get through the game, get it done, and that was that. But a lot of people's main complaints was it was way too easy. Sorry, I wanted to mention that before I give in my reasoning for all these games being a little bit easier. Okay, I think the reason for this is and I'm not saying that this is right. I never said that. I'm just trying to figure out the reason why. I think they're trying to streamline these games for a broader audience. And they're taking it away, and I'm not saying in a bad way, from just the hardcore base. Like people from the old Dragon Quest days that love grinding and having very challenging dungeons and more insane bosses, you know. I think they're taking it away and they're saying we want more people to play this game. And one of the ways to do that is to kind of, I hate to use the term, dumb it down a little bit. Make it a little bit more simple. Get rid of the tough boss encounters. Make it easier that, oh yeah, you can just kind of fight monsters and go to the boss and defeat it, and it's all easy, and as long as you upgrade your equipment, you'll be okay. Not, you know, where the olden days would be like you needed all the best equipment in the world, and the top equipment, and the best weapons, and you needed to grind for hours upon hours at a certain spot that you found. And I think that they're taking that away. I definitely do. Even a game like Devil May Cry is a wondrous game. Oh my god, a 9 out of 10 game. Love it to death. But man, that game was over fast. I was like, huh? And yes, there's a lot more things you can do in these games. I'm not saying that. You can get your money's worth. It's not about not getting your money's worth. For me in all these games, I've got my playtime and enjoyment and then some. I really have. Like hours and hours of entertainment. But I couldn't help but notice with a lot of games these days, I even noticed it with the Halo series, and I'm not saying that the Halo series was difficult. I think as a player I got better, and so first-person shooters, I like when I got to the last game, I was like, this is so easy. It's almost a joke. Where I say I like easy games, but I need a challenge too, or it doesn't feel like I accomplished anything. When you finished a game on the NES back in the day, and you had it for like a year and you finally beat that game, you were running around your house. I remember my friend beat Ghosts and Goblins, and he could not believe that he beat it, and I was like, I can't believe you beat it. And it was like a triumph of endurance to try to get through that game. It's amazing, right? So I just find these days that a lot of the games are getting a little bit more simple, and I get it. They're trying to reach a broader audience. They're trying to bring in people who maybe don't normally play, say, a role-playing game or a survival horror game, and make it and give you that kind of accessibility, where there is exceptions to the rule as well, like Resident Evil 2, the remake. That game is a challenge, and it's a wonderful challenge. I was so thankful for that. It was so much fun. I think I'm even going to do a video on all the fun challenges I overcame in that game. I was laughing because I had Rob came over, and we were both laughing at how funny some of them were and how much of an accomplishment it was when you got past some of them. And I really hope in the future with Resident Evil going forward, and with Final Fantasy going forward, and Dragon Quest, these are some of my favorite series, and that's why I'm picking on them. That's the only reason why I'm picking on them. That they bring back a little bit of that challenge and a little bit of that, that excitement level, that when you do beat a boss, you feel that adrenaline rush, where I found in some of these games when I'd finished certain things, I was like, oh, okay, that was fun, but I didn't feel the sense of accomplishment like I have in the past. What do you guys think? I know there's a lot of games out there that are still challenging, but do you think that overall, over the years, games are getting easier, say, into this generation? Or is it just me? Am I hallucinating? I don't know. I'll have to see in the comments below. So anyways, guys, until next time.